Okay, so we'll continue our discussion from verse number 14, chapter 4. So Sukadeva Goswami is continuing his prayers. He says, Namo Namaste Astu Rishabhaya Satvatam. So now he's offering his respects to his worshipful deity. So in 12th verse, he offered his prayers to the power of the Lord, then the sweetness of the Lord, and now he is offering his prayers to his deity. Namo Namaste Astu Rishabhaya Satvatam, who is the associate of the members of Yadu dynasty. So he's particularly offering respects to Krishna. Rishabhaya Satvatam, Satvatam Pati. Vidura Kasthaya Muhuku Yogina. And those who are Uyogis, that means who are non-devotees, he's always a problem for them. Lord is always creating problems for non-devotees. Nirasta Samya Atishayena Radhasa. There is nobody who is equal to him, and Atishayena, nobody who is greater than him. Swadhamani Brahmani Ramsyate Namaha. So therefore he is the supreme enjoyer of both material and spiritual worlds. Yet he is always situated in his abode. He is always there in the Vaikuntha or Goloka, but still he enjoys both the material and spiritual worlds. So that's how he is so very wonderful. Nirasta Samya Atishayena. It's like when Krishna enters Mathura for the first time, all the Mathura ladies, they are seeing Krishna for the first time. And then they are amazed to see what fortune the gopis must have. Gopya tapa kimacharam yadamushya rupam lavanya sarama samordhumananya siddham drigbhi pibantyanusava bhinavam durapam ekanta dhama yashasha shriya aishwarasya. Gopya, what austerities these gopis must have performed. They were getting chance to see the beautiful form of the Lord, who is unparalleled in his beauty, fame, power, and wealth. Only he is equal to him. Nobody is equal to him. Asamurdhva. There is nobody equal, there is nobody greater. So that's why Sukadeva Goswami is there speaking. Nirasta Samya Atishayena Radhasa. So 4 things he is describing in this verse. He is the associate of the Yadus. He is problem for non-devotees. He is supreme enjoyer of both the worlds, and no one is equal to him. So Prabhupada writes in the purport, there are 2 sides of transcendental manifestations of the Lord Krishna. For pure devotees, he is a constant companion. Just like in the case of Arjuna and Yadu dynasty, and for the inhabitants of Vrindavan. Sridama, Sudama, Madhumangal. And by his impersonal feature, he expands the rays of Brahma Jyoti. The part of all pervasive Brahma Jyoti is covered by the darkness of Mahatattva. So then Prabhupada describes all the wonderful things. Okay, Lord is supreme. Then he has an impersonal feature also. In that impersonal feature, there is a material world. In that material world, how does it form? Mahatattva. And then in Mahatattva, there are so many planets are created. The entire process of creation, Prabhupada is summarizing here. And then again, Prabhupada goes, zoom out and tell that out of all these things, Goloka Vrindavan is supreme. Then Prabhupada writes after a few lines. The mundaners have insufficient information of even the mundane sky. Then what to speak of? The spiritual world. Nobody can understand it. Therefore, the mundaners are far, far away from him. Even if in future they are able to manufacture some machine whose speed may be accelerated to the velocity of the wind and the mind, still they'll be unable to imagine reaching the planets of spiritual sky. Itna bhi kar lo, you will not be able to go to the spiritual world. One can know the Lord and reach the Lord only by the mercy of the Lord. Athapi te deva padambujadvaya prasadaleshanugrahita evahi janati tattvam bhagavan mahimno na chanya eko pichiram vichinvan. Only if somebody receives the drop of mercy of the Lord, he can know the Lord. Otherwise, na chanya eko pi chiram vichinvan. Others, even if they try for many lifetimes, they will not be able to reach it. And then Prabhupada in the next paragraph describes Madhama or Swadham. The word used here in the verse is Swadhamni. So Prabhupada is elaborating on that. What is Swadhamni? So Swadham means, Prabhupada says, Natat Bhashayate Shuryo. So that's how Lord acts in many ways. So he describes the Swadham. He quotes the verse from Shvetashvatara Upanishad. This, Bhagavad Gita verse kya hai iska? Natat Bhashayate, Prabhupada writes there. Prabhupada writes that the Lord's abode does not require sunlight, moonlight or electricity. ये वर्ष में इलेक्ट्रिसिटी नहीं है, फिर भी इलेक्ट्रिसिटी क्यों लिख रहे हैं प्रभुपाद? Oh yes, sorry, delayed है लगता है. So why Prabhupada is writing electricity? There is another verse from Shvetashvatara Upanishad. वहां पे देखिए, न तत्र सूर्यो भाति न चंद्र तारकम नेमा विद्युतो भांति. वहां पे विद्युत है. So Prabhupada is, combining all the different sources and giving us in one thing. There's no need of electricity there. So that's how Lord is acting in so many ways. He gives us facilities for enjoyment. He arranges for frustration so that we can remember Him. He gives facilities for enjoyment also, and He arranges for frustration also. This world is complete. Which verse says this? Material world is complete. Lord is complete, everything is coming from Him is complete, everything is complete. So Lord has made this world complete and perfect. So how this world is complete and perfect? With so many problems this world has. Kyun perfect and complete bol rahe hain?
All the needs will be satisfied. No wants will be satisfied. All needs will be satisfied.
Okay. So all needs will be satisfied, but still, why? It is perfect. क्या perfect है? कुछ भी perfect नहीं है इधर. कुछ भी ठीक से नहीं चलता है.
You have a chance to remember.
Okay.
Go back to God.
Yes. So this world is perfectly made to frustrate our desires. So that's how it is perfect. Lord has very specifically designed this world कि दोबारा इधर से जाएंगे तो वापस आने का सोचेंगे भी नहीं. Yad gatva na nivartante tadadhama paramam mama. So that's how Lord does every arrangement. He gives pleasure to people, He frustrates them, then He sends His own devotees and representatives. Abhi frustration ho gaya, bichara abhi to sunega. That was the case of Narad Muni. Why he went to Daksha after making it, kitna? 61,000, 61, no, sorry, 11,000. 11,000 of his sons, Daksha, 11,000 पुत्रों को ब्रह्मचारी बना दिया. पहले हर्यश्वस और शवलश्वस, उसके बाद क्यों गए दक्ष के पास? Why he went to Daksha? मतलब एक बेटा ब्रह्मचारी बनेगा तो इतना ये होता है रिवोल्ट. इनके 11,000 को बना के सीधा जा रहे हैं दक्षा के पास. क्यों जा रहे हैं? नहीं, सोलेस नहीं. Why he is going to Daksha? Anyone knows? Well, for two reasons. He says, ये स्वयंभू मनु का पूरा डायनेस्टी आई हैव डिलीवर्ड. प्रियव्रत महाराज के गुरु कौन? नारद. सुल्तानपाद के गुरु नारद. ध्रुवा के गुरु Narad. Prachetas ke guru Narad. I have delivered the entire dynasty of Swambhu. This Daksha is remaining. I'll deliver him also. Let's go. And this is the perfect time because he is frustrated. जो दुखी रहेगा तो सुनेगा तो at least कुछ तो सुन लेगा. That is hope against. That is the hope of a preacher. मतलब चलेगा, he'll give me गाली, चलेगा, no problem. जरा गाली देके शांत हो जाएगा, then he'll hear. So that is how a devotee is compassionate. So Lord is doing so many arrangements to bring all the conditioned souls back to Him. Okay, then next is a very beautiful verse. In that he is describing how to remove the impurities to see the Lord. He glorifies the Lord. Yat kirtanam yat smaranam yat ikshanam.
Yat kirtanam
Yad
Saranam
vandanam yad
yadikshanam.
shravanam yad arhanam
Yatpandanam Yatshakam Yadarhanam
lokasya
Yat
satyo
vandanam yat
vidhi
shravanam yad haranam.
tasmai subhadra shravase namo namaha.
Namaste. Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto the all auspicious Lord, Sri Krishna, about whom the glorification, remembrances, audience, prayers, hearing, and worship can at once relieve the effect of all sins of the performer.
So there are 6 limbs described which purifies a devotee. Tasmai subhadra shravase. All auspiciousness, all auspiciousness is created by these 6 things. What is that? First is Yat Kirtanam, Unka Kirtan. Yat Kirtanam. So Prabhupada describes in about each and everything. Kirtanam, or glorifying the Lord, can be performed in very many ways, such as remembering, going to temple, reciting scriptures. Then it should be accompanied by music. Kirtan can be performed both by singing the glories of the Lord in accompaniment with melodious music or by recitations of scriptures like Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita. So what are we doing? We are doing Kirtanam. It is one of the limbs of Bhakti, 6 limbs of Bhakti. Then Yat Smaranam, his remembrance. So when we remember, when we get purified. Yad anudhyasina yuktaha karma granthi nibandhanam chandanti govidastasya kona kuryat katharati. Anudhyasina yukta, just by remembering the glories of the Lord. Karma granthi nibandhanam, one becomes purified, or that granthi, the knot in the heart, gets cut off. So who is that person who will not develop attraction for the remembrance of the Lord? Kona kuryat katharati, mari kisko rati nahi utpanna hogi. So Prabhupada writes about remembrance also. The devotional process of chanting, hearing, remembering can give us the desired result of associating with the Lord. Then Yat Kirtanam, Yat Smaranam, Yat Ikshanam. Ikshana means audience with the Lord, seeing the Lord. Seeing the Lord also gives the same result. Just like Devahuti is praying to Kapiladev. She's saying, Yannamadheya Shravananu Kirtanat Smaranad Yat Prahavanadapi Kvachit Svadopi Sadya Savanaya Kalpate Kutaha Punaste Bhagavannu Darshanat. What to speak of seeing the Lord directly just by chanting the names? Yannamadheya Shravananu. Just by chanting the names of the Lord, hearing the names of the Lord, and just remembering the names of the Lord, one becomes purified. Swadopi. What is swada? Swa adaha. Shwa adaha. Shwa means dog. A dog eater can also become purified. What to speak of taking darshan of the Lord? Then vandanam, glorifying the Lord. Who is the what's that? Main person, the Acharya of Vandanam? Akrura. He offered beautiful prayers. Vandanam. Yes, Shravanam. Shravanam means hearing. Shanvata Swakatha Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana. Then Arhanam. Arhanam means worshipping of the Lord. When we offer things to the Lord, we get benefited. Just like Prahlad Maharaj is praying one verse. Oh my Lord, when somebody decorates himself, the image in the mirror automatically gets decorated. Similarly, when we offer anything to you, oh my Lord, we also get benefited. Tasmadaham vigata viklava ishwarasya sarvatmanam higranami yatha manisham. Naivatmana prabhurayam nijalabha purno manam janada vidushah karuno vinite. Yad yad jano bhagavate vidadhita manam tachatmane pratimukhasya yatha mukha shri. Just like by decorating oneself, the mukha shri, pratima, pratibimba also gets decorated. Similarly, by offering things to you, one gets benefited. Arhanam. That's Prabhupada writes. Devotees, Prabhupada writes a very interesting thing. Devotees need not be disappointed in the physical absence of the Lord. Though they may think of not being associated with Him. We may not see the Lord personally, but when we are doing all these 6 things, we are with the Lord. So that is how Lord is non-different from process of devotional service. We can actually experience the Lord. Pratyaksha avagamam dharmyam susukham kartum avyayam. So simply by offering prayers, simply by remembrance, one can be with the Lord. Prabhupada writes. Similarly, remembrance and prayers can also give the desired result if they are done properly under expert guidance. So if we are chanting the names of the Lord, we are with Krishna. Because Krishna says, I am not in Vaikuntha. I am not in the heart of the yogis. Where am I?
In the heart of devotees.
Yatra gayanti mad bhakta.
Yatra gayanti mat bhakta tatra tishtami narada. Naham tishtami vaikunte yoginam hridayeshu va yatra gayanti mad bhakta tatra tishtami narada. So therefore devotees are not interested in anywhere, any other place. They are interested only in being with devotees. It is said, generally when a day is cloudy, it is inauspicious. सब cloud, सब बादल 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 हैं, उसको बोलते हैं शुभ है, ज्यादा शुभ नहीं है. Surya means auspicious. But what is actual inauspiciousness? Yad dinam durdinam manye megha channam na durdinam yad dinam Krishna sanlapa katha piyusha varjitam. If the cloud is the sky is covered by cloud, that is not an inauspicious day. Inauspicious day is that day when we don't discuss Harikatha. That is real inauspiciousness. So therefore devotees are not interested in any other place. They are only interested in a place where Krishna Katha is happening. Even if that place is heaven, devotees are not interested. Nayatra Vaikuntha Katha Sudhapaga, na sadhavo bhagavata sadashraya, nayatra yagyesh makham. जहाँ पे वैकुंठ कथा नहीं हो रही हो, जहाँ पे डिवोटीज एसोसिएशन नहीं है, जहाँ पे उत्सव नहीं हो रहे हैं, सुरेश लोकोपी स्वर्ग में भी नहीं जाएंगे अगर ये 3 चीजें नहीं हो रही हैं तो. That's how it is. One is sure to get free from the reactions of sins, provided one is very careful about not committing sins willingly in expectation of getting free. Which verse? Which offense it is? One should not commit sins willingly in expectation of getting free from reactions of sins by worshipping the temple.
Nama balad.
Namno balad yasya hi papa buddhi. To commit sinful activities on the strength of the holy names. Yeah, Prabhupada is writing. Namno balad, Prabhupada is quoting that also. Okay, so that's how we have to be very, very careful. Prabhupada writes, purposeful mistakes are never forgiven. अगर कोई जानबूझ के गलती करता है, thinking that okay, मैं थोड़ा ज्यादा chanting कर लूंगा, थोड़ा ज्यादा भागवत सुन लूंगा, no. So that is very, very important. Just like if somebody is traveling in a bus, and so many Matajis are there, and because of the movement of the bus, if somebody touches one Mataji आगे वाले, तो sorry बोल देंगे, समझ जाते हैं, because it was not intentional. But if somebody does intentionally, then he'll get a slap. So similarly, if somebody is doing offense knowingly, if thinking that ठीक है पाप कर रहे हैं, थोड़ा सा ज्यादा नाम ले लेंगे, हो जाएगा. No, it is not the case. Okay, so then after this, he says, "Oh my Lord, even Jnanis worship you to destroy their impurities." So even Jnanis worship you to destroy their impurities. Vichakshanaya charanopasadana. Sangam vidasyo bhayatontaratmanaha vidanti hi brahmagatim gataklamas
विदन्ति हि ब्रह्मगतिं गतत्
tasmai subhadra shravase namo namaha.
समस्मै सुभद्रा शवसे नमो नमः.
What do you mean? Offer my respectful obeisance and again. Will be progressing towards spiritual existence.
Okay, you continue करें. Okay. Vichakshana, yat charanopasadana. Vichakshana means those who are highly intellectuals. They also surrender to your lotus feet. Those who are jnanis, they also worship you only. Sangam vidasya bhayato antaratmanaha. And by surrendering to your lotus feet, O my Lord, they become free of all the sangha, all the attachments. They become free of that. Vidantihi brahmagati, and they travel, they progress towards spiritual existence without any klamaha. Gataklama means without difficulty. And therefore, I offer my obeisances unto your lotus feet. Tasmai subhadra shravase namo namaha. I offer obeisances unto the all auspicious Lord. So even jnanis surrender unto you, because by surrendering to you, O my Lord, they progress in their spiritual life. They become detached from the world, because that's what they want. Jnanis means
टेम्पल हॉल में
यहाँ पे नहीं है वाईफाई.
टेम्पल हॉल में बैठेगी क्या नहीं?
Okay, whatever. Take it. So he's saying how yogis, jnanis also get benefited. So Prabhupada writes, Lord Krishna has repeatedly instructed Arjuna, or for that matter, everyone concerned with becoming his unalloyed devotee. In the last phase of his instruction, he says, Sarva guhyatamam bhuyah shinu me paramam vachaha ishtosi me drinamiti to vakshyami tehitam. Because you are my dear devotee, I am giving you the confidential, Sarva guhyatama, most confidential knowledge I am giving you again, O Arjun. What is that? The two verses. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur writes that Bhagavad Gita is like a jewel box. The lower 6 chapters, they are like the upper 6 chapters, they are the lower lid of the box. The last 6 chapters, they are the upper lid of the box. And the middle part, the actual jewel, is the middle 6 chapters. And to attract a person to this jewel box, Krishna has put 2 diamonds on the top. What are the 2 diamonds on the lid of the box? That is 18.65 and 66. These are 2 diamond verses, jewel verses, to attract everyone to Bhagavad Gita. So Prabhupada writes, persons who are intelligent take serious note of this last instruction. So then Prabhupada writes, what is confidential, what is more confidential, what is most confidential. What is confidential knowledge of Bhagavad Gita? Huh?
Second chapter, Dehinosmimatan.
We are not this body. Yes. The self-realization, that is confidential knowledge. More confidential is Paramatma knowledge. And the most confidential is Bhagwan realization. So therefore he is giving most confidential. Sarva guhyatamam. Guhya, Guhyatar, Guhyatam. The culmination of knowledge of Bhagavad Gita is God realization. And when one attains this stage of God realization, he naturally, voluntarily becomes a devotee. This devotional service to the Lord is always based on love of God and is distinct from the nature of routine service as prescribed in karma, jnana, and yoga. Okay, so that is what he is describing in detail. Then Prabhupada writes after a few lines, one should not be attracted by karma kand and jnana kand. Last line, last few lines. One should not be attracted by the jugglery of karma kand or jnana kand, or even the gymnastic performances of yoga, but skillfully should take to the simple performance of kirtan and smarana. In Nectar of Devotion describes that bhakti is independent of all the other paths. There is a whole chapter. All the other paths, yoga, jnana, yoga, they depend on bhakti. Bhakti is a catalyst. If bhakti is not there, then jnana will not give the result, yoga will not give the result, karma will not give the result. Yagyarthat karmano anyatra. If you are not offering your results to Krishna, karma yoga is useless. And jnana is useless if it is not connected to Krishna. Prabhupada quotes this verse from 10th Canto. We'll recite this. Shreya sritim bhakti mudasya te vibho klishyanti ye kevala bodha labdhaye tesham asau kleshala eva shishyate nanyad yatha sthula tushavaghatinam. So if somebody is practicing jnana yoga and he is not connecting it to bhakti, if he is not practicing devotional service, it is like beating the empty husks of rice. Nothing will come out. Sthula tushavaghatinam. Prabhupada writes, a handful of real paddy is more valuable than heaps of paddy skins without any substance. So therefore all this karma kanda, jnana kanda, keval vishera bhand. अमृत बोली जेबा खाए नाना योनि सदा फिरे कदर्य भक्षण करे तारा जन्म अधः पाते आए. Narottam Das Thakur writes in bhajan. Karma kand, jnana kand, they are all parts of poison. If somebody thinks hey, nectar hai, amrit boli jeba khaye, what happens? Nana yoni jata phire and kadarya bhakshan kare, sometimes he eats abominable things also, and tara janma dha pate aaye. Okay, so therefore jnana or yoga can give result only if bhakti is there. And then he says, without bhakti, the practices of even great personalities are useless. Anything they do without bhakti, it will be condemned. That is what is described in the next verse. Tapasvino dana paraya sashvino manasvino mantravidah sumangalaha shemam na vindanti vinaya darpanam
क्षेमं न विन्दन्ति विना यदपर्पणम्
Shravase namo namaha.
अस्मै सुभद्रशवसे नमो नमः.
Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto the all auspicious Lord Sri Krishna again and again. Because the great learned sages, the great performers of charity, the great workers of distinction, the great philosophers and mystics, the great chanters of the Vedic hymns, and the great followers of Vedic principles cannot achieve any fruitful result without dedication of such great qualities to the service of the Lord. Hare Krishna.
So whatever you may be doing big things. You may be a tapasvi or danapara, great giver, performer of charity, yashasvi, great workers of distinction. You are doing big activities. Manasvi, you are great philosopher. Mantravido, you are great chanter. Sumangala, or you are great follower of Vedic principles. Shemam na vindanti, kuch nahi milega. You will not achieve anything substantial if Vina yad arpanam, इनको नहीं अर्पण करेंगे तो shame नहीं मिलेगा. You will not achieve any result. Therefore, I offer my obeisances unto the all auspicious Lord Krishna again and again. So all our rules and regulations are there to please Krishna. Dharma sunushtita pumsam vishwaksena katha suyah na utpadiyed ratim yadi Shrama eva hi kevalam. So all the things are useless if we are not using it in Krishna's service. Devahuti is telling to Kapiladev, Nehayat karma dharmaya, na viragaya kalpate, na tirtha pada sevaya, jivan napi mritopis. If your karma doesn't lead to dharma, if your dharma doesn't lead to vairagya, if your vairagya doesn't lead to bhakti, Jivan napi mritopisa, it is all waste. So that is the ultimate understanding. Everything should be offered to Krishna. That is the only thing which is required. The Prabhupada writes, there are two kinds of self-interests, the personal and extended. But there is no difference between personal and extended. कुछ लोग बोलते हैं मैं अपने लिए कुछ नहीं करता हूँ, मैं परिवार के लिए, मैं समाज के लिए जी रहा हूँ, मैं देश के लिए जी रहा हूँ. But Bhagavatam gives गाली to everyone. देश प्रेमी हो या समाज के लिए कर रहे हो, कुछ भी हो, are you giving them Krishna consciousness? That is understand. That is the baseline. If you are not connecting them to Krishna, Guru na sasya, Sojano na sasya, Pita na sasya, Namo chayedya samupedma. That is understanding. Because that is the actual interest. Actual self-interest is Krishna consciousness. Nate vidu swartha gati. Unko swartha gati malum hi nahi hai. Therefore, what are they doing? Durashaya. They are doing asha for wrong things of the world. Bahirartha manina, andha yathandi rupaniya mana. Blind leading a blind, both fall into a ditch. So that's how it is. Then Prabhupada writes, the purpose of maintaining a body is different from human body, is different from that of animals. For animals, eating, sleeping, mating, defending, human body is not for that. Similarly, advancement of learning, economic development, philosophical research, study of scriptures, or even execution of pious activities like charity, opening hospital, distribution of grains, should be done in relationship with the Lord. It is not connected to the Lord, it is all waste. Because what are you doing? You are doing them, giving them more facility to enjoy, and they will come back again in this world. They will suffer janm, mrityu, jara, vyadhi again. So what is auspiciousness? Last few lines, Prabhupada writes, expert leaders of godless human civilization cannot bring about a fruitful result in all their attempts unless they are God conscious. That is what Prahlad tells to Hiranyakashipu. Hiranyakashipu asks, किसने सिखाया ये सब तुमको? हमने तो सिखाया नहीं. कौन थे? Shandamar ने भी नहीं सिखाया. From where you got this knowledge? How you have such intelligence? Prahlad says, don't worry, you will never get such intelligence. Even if you try yourself, even if you tell all your ministers, or even if you combine everyone's efforts, because everybody is atheist, you will never come to the understanding which I have. Unless you take the dust of the devotees' feet. Naisham matis tavad urukramangrim mahiyasham padarajo. And then Shukdev Goswami continues. He says, everything is auspicious if it is offered to Krishna. Even a condemned sinner becomes successful if he has a trace of bhakti. Very famous verse. Kirata hunandra pulinda pulkasha. शुद्ध्यन्ति तस्मै प्रभविष्णवे नमः
शुद्धन्ति तस्मै प्रभवेष्णवे नमः
Members of SRSs and even others addicted to sinful acts can be purified by taking shelter of the devotees of the Lord, due to his being in power. I beg to offer my respects.
So very interesting thing, Shukdev Goswami is saying, shelter of devotees purify even sinful people. So far he was offering direct obeisances to the Supreme Lord. Now this verse describes the power of devotees of the Lord. Brahmanda tarite shakti dhare jane jane, e veda purane guna gaye jeva shune. Devikananda Das is writing in his prayers. Brahmanda tarite shakti dhare jane jane. Devotees of Lord Chaitanya, they can deliver entire universe. So, what to speak of all these races? Kirata, Huna, Prabhupada writes about all these. Andhra, matlab Andhra Pradesh nahi hai. So, this is another Andhra. Kirata, Huna, Andhra, Pulinda, Pulkasha, all these races. ये अन्य and और जो जिनका mention नहीं किया है वो भी ये अन्य च पापा. Those who are sinful. यद अपा आश्रय आश्रय जिन्होंने भगवान का आश्रय लिया है उनका आश्रय लेने से all these people they get purified. Shuddhanti, they become purified. So Srila Chakravarti Thakur describes that this indicates that bhakti destroys prarabdha and aprarabdha karma. Nectar of devotion, there are 6 qualities of bhakti mentioned. First chapter, कौन-कौन से हैं?
क्लेशाग्नि शुभदा मोक्ष लघुताकृत
What was the first one? Klesh Agni.
हाँ क्लेशाग्नि
Chandrananda Visheshatma.
सांद्रानंद विशेषात्मा
सुदुर्लभा और 2 बज गए.
मोक्ष लघुताकृत
मोक्ष लघुताकृत Shri Krishna Akarshini. So in that Klesh Agni, there is a verse of Padma Puran, Prabhupada quotes. Anyone knows? Translation. Bhakti destroys all the different types of karmas. Prarabdha, prarabdha, phalam, bijam, kutam. चलिए एक लाइन तो याद है. अप्रारब्ध फलम पापम कूटम बीजम फलोन्मुखम क्रमेणैव प्रलीयेत विष्णु भक्तिरतात्मनाम. So this is the verse which is quoted by Jiva Goswami there. How bhakti destroys even prarabdha. What is aprarabdha karma? Just like a water tank up there, building के ऊपर tank रहता है वो, that is the water in that stored tank is not संचित कर्म. जितने भी हमने संचय किए हैं कर्म का वो संचित है. ऊपर वाला टैंक, ऊपर से पाइप आ रहा है. That water in the pipe is the aprarabdha karma, जो अभी पाइप में है, आने वाला है बाहर. And the tap, when it is open, the water which comes out is prarabdha karma. So bhakti destroys prarabdha karma also and aprarabdha karma also. So prarabdha means what? Which we are experiencing now. So a person who has taken birth in the lower family is experiencing the karma. Now सामने है बेचारा वो low class घर में पैदा हो गया है, you know, किराट हुणांद्र पुलिन. But शुद्धंति, they all become purified. Shuddhanti tasmai prabhavishnave namaha. How they get purified? By taking shelter of devotees of the Lord. That is the power of devotee. So Prabhupada writes, Jesus Christ and Muhammad, 2 powerful devotees of the Lord, have done tremendous service on behalf of the Lord on the surface of globe. Prabhupada was very respectful to Jesus and Muhammad. Even in, one time when Prabhupada went to Middle East and Prabhupada was about to give a class and then the azan started, you know, Allahu Akbar, aisa zor se chalu ho gaya. So Prabhupada closed his eyes and he was hearing that. And Prabhupada said, and he said, oh, this is a very wonderful sound of God. So Prabhupada was, respectful to all religions. And he was respectful to Jesus. So he said he was also messenger of God. He sacrificed so much for the service of humanity. So Prabhupada is writing here that also. And from the version of Srila Shukadeva Goswami, it appears that instead of running a godless civilization, if the leadership of world affairs is entrusted to devotees of the Lord, for which a worldwide organization under the name and style of Krishna consciousness has already been started, then by the grace of the Lord, there can be a thorough change of heart. One time Prabhupada was giving a interview and the newspaper reporter was asking, and there was some war going on, and one of the kings, he had overruled the democratic government, and he was behaving in a very, very sinful way. And Prabhupada was very angry and he was giving his ideas. And then this reporter asked, so Swamiji, according to you, who is qualified to become the king of the world? And the recording was going on, but the tape got over. जब उसने क्वेश्चन पूछा तो टेप खत्म हो गया. So it was not recorded, but Prabhupada said, me. Who is qualified to become the king of the world? Prabhupada said, me. I am qualified to become. No one else is qualified to become the king. Only a devotee of the Lord is qualified. That's why Krishna made Yudhishthira Maharaj the king of the world. So reporter was shocked. Kya bolte hai? One time Prabhupada, devotees told Prabhupada, in a few days, few months, we'll conquer the entire world and we'll make you the king. Prabhupada said, no, I'll not become the king. I'll be the guru of the king. Kingmaker. That's how Prabhupada was speaking. So then Prabhupada writes, Prabhupada was so very, graphic and so very long sighted. He would see things in a big perspective. Prabhupada said, "Arey, marna hai to hunt for a rhino." He wrote letter to Indira Gandhi also. All the members of parliament, they should enter the parliament only after doing Mangalarti and chanting 16 rounds. ऐसा रूल बनाओ आप. सब तिलक लगा के कंठी माला 4 नियम पालन करेंगे. They only they become political. So that was Prabhupada. Sometimes devotees and people would be shocked. Kya bol rahe hai? So that was Prabhupada. He would give sometimes very, very shocking answers. One time Prabhupada was talking to some of the scientists and Prabhupada was telling, sun is closer to earth than moon. Swamiji, no, sun is farther. No, I am saying sun is closer. Otherwise, why Sunday comes before Monday? Well, scientists look shocked. ये कौन सा analogy है? Sunday comes before Monday. And everybody is thinking, क्या बोल रहे हैं ये? Prabhupada said, yes, you tell me why Sunday comes before Monday. And nobody could say anything. So that's how Prabhupada was. And with such conviction he would speak. Everybody would be spellbound. क्या बोल रहे हैं अभी? क्या बोले इनको अभी? That was Prabhupada. Devotees are interested only in seeing that the people in general are not misguided. If politicians, therefore, would be guided by good counsel of the devotees, then certainly there would be a great change in the world. Shukadeva Goswami began his prayer by discussing the word Yat Kirtanam, as Lord Chaitanya recommended. Kirtanam. So therefore, a Vaishnava is powerful enough. Prabhupada writes there. Next paragraph. A Vaishnava is powerful enough to turn into a Vaishnava, even a Kirata. 9.32 Bhagavad Gita says, Striyo Vaishyasna Shudra Stepiyanti Paramgati. Only qualification is that one takes shelter of a pure devotee. Then he can be purified. And then Prabhupada writes in the further paragraph, who is qualified to become a spiritual master? any person who is chanting the names of the Lord. You know, which verse generally Prabhupada quotes? Okay, that is one verse. Shatkarma Vipuno Nipro Nipuno Vipro Mantra Tantra Visharada Vaishnava Guru Na Swat Vaishnava Swapacho Guru. And any other verse? Siti.
The first words of factor of instruction.
Okay, Vacho Vegam, Marta Krodha Vegam, Sarvam Apimam Prithvim Sashishyat. Any other verse? Qualification of a guru. Who can become the guru? Kiva Vipra. Jai Krishna Tattva Vidya Sai Guru. Even if somebody is born in a family of dog eaters, Aho Bhat Shwapacho Ato Garyan Yajhivagre Vartate Namatubhyam. He is chanting, he should be considered to be an Arya. And then after some lines, Prabhupada describes the Vaishnava accepts another, never accepts other Vaishnava on the basis of birthright. ये जन्मे है वैष्णव कुल में इसलिए वैष्णव है, ये गोस्वामी कुल में जन्मे इसलिए गोस्वामी है. Just as he never thinks of the deity of the Lord as idol. Which verse Prabhupada is paraphrasing here? Anyone knows? One should never see a Vaishnava in terms of his birth. One should never see idol or deity to be a stone. One should never think that spiritual master is an ordinary human being. Not from Bhagavatam. Arche Vishnu Shiladhi Gurushu Narmati Vaishnave Jati Buddhisa Narakisa. Arche, Archa, Vishnu Shiladhi. Vishnu Archa if somebody thinks to be a stone. Gurushu Narmati. If somebody thinks a guru is ordinary human being, ye bhi guru, ye bhi manusya, mai bhi manusya. Vaishnave Jati Buddhi. He is a Bengali Vaishnava. He is a South Indian Vaishnava. He is a Chinese, he is Japanese Vaishnava. क्या क्या खाया रहेगा इन लोगों ने पता नहीं. अब जाके वैष्णव बन गए. Narakisa. It is a hellish intelligence. Which verse, a nectar of instruction, this is quoted? One should not see a devotee from bodily perspective. बुद्ध फेन पंकई वो याद है. चलिए. दृष्टे स्वभाव जनितैव पुषश्च दोषै. आगे. दृष्टै स्वभाव जनितैव पुषश्च दोषै न प्राकृतत्वं भक्त जन यह भक्त जनस्य पश्येत. गंगां भसां न खलु बुद्ध फेन पंकै. भूल गया मैं. ओके. ब्रह्मा द्रवत्वम अपगच्छति नीर धर्मई. Prabhupada quotes this actually. ये जो नीचे है ना वहाँ Prabhupada लिखते हैं अर्चे विष्णु श्रीधि गुरुषु नर्मति वैष्णव जाति जाति बुद्धि. So that's how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also transformed the world by engaging all those people who are from the lower castes. किस मतलब चुन चुन के ऐसे लोगों को गुरु बनाए हैं जो सब मुसलमान हैं. किनको बनाए? नामाचार्य हरिदास ठाकुर को नामाचार्य बना दिए. रूप सनातन गोस्वामी देवर दबीर खा सकार मलिक उनको बोल दिए चलो ये है. He is आचार्य of सिद्धांत. हरिदास द्वारा नाम महात्म्य प्रकाश. सनातन द्वारा भक्ति सिद्धांत विलास. श्री रूप द्वारा ब्रजेर प्रेम रस लीला की बुझिते पारे गंभीर चैतन्य रखेला. That's how Mahaprabhu is acting. चुन चुन के जितने लोग इतना पतित बोलते हैं उनको ही बना दिया आचार्य. So that is how Mahaprabhu is. So he was really doing revolution. Okay, then he continues. Saesh Atmatmavatamадhishwaras Traimayo Dharmamayas Tapomayah Gatavyalike Rajashankaradibhir
गतव्यकर शंकरातिकर
Yaliko Bhagavan Prasidatam.
भगवान् प्रसीदताम्.
For soul and supreme Lord of all self-realized souls. He is the personification of the Vedas, religious scriptures, and austerities. He is worshipped by Lord Brahma and Shiva and all those who are transcendental to all pretensions. Being so revered with awe and veneration, may thy supreme excellence be pleased with me.
So in the last two verses, in 17th and 18th verses, the glories of bhakti was described, how bhakti is excellent. What is the power of bhakti? By negative and positive statement. You know. So in the 17th verse, it was described that even if somebody is a great tapasvi, dani, usko phal nahi milega yadi bhakti nahi karenge. And even those who are
रुचि साउंड नहीं आ रहा। हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी साउंड नहीं आ रहा है।
हरे कृष्णा गौरव प्रभु ब्रेक है क्या?
Which chapter, Prabhuji? Which chapter? Which chapter? Chapter 3 or 4?
चैप्टर
हरि
4
बोल, हरि बोल,
फोर चैप्टर 4 चालू है लेकिन आवाज नहीं आ रहा है प्रभु जी का।
हरि
आवाज
बोल।
नहीं आ रही। चैप्टर 4 चल रहा है ना? चैप्टर
हाँ
4 का 16 17
4 19 श्लोक
हाँ 18 श्लोक
19 चल रहा है, अभी 19 बताए प्रभु जी।
गौरव प्रभु आवाज नहीं आ रहा है।
ये उनको कोई बताइए कि यहाँ डिस्कनेक्ट हुआ है करके।
नहीं प्रभु जी का म्यूट है शायद।
मुझे ये वॉइस ऑफ का नहीं।
Hare Krishna, am I audible now?
यस
Okay. 5 minute break लीजिए. Okay, we'll take a break for 5 minutes, then we'll continue. Okay, so we'll continue our discussion. We are on 19th verse. We are continuing our discussion from there. In this verse, Shukdev Goswami is describing how Lord is worshipped by others for attaining their particular goals. So he is worshipped by Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma, and all those who are transcendental to all pretensions. So in the purport, Prabhupada describes how everybody in this world, they are ashanta. Bhukti mukti siddhi kami sakali ashanta. Krishna bhakta nishikam ateva shanta. That's what Prabhupada quotes here. And then Prabhupada writes how nishkami devotees of the Lord desire everything for the satisfaction of the Lord. So whatever devotee does is only for one purpose, to serve the Lord. He doesn't want to get liberated also. What are the 5 types of liberation?
Sayujya Mukti.
Samipya, Sanidhya, Sayujya,
Sayujya, Salokya, Samipya, Sarishti and
Salokya.
Salokya, Sarishti, Samipya, Sarupya, Aikatvam Apyuta, Diyamanam.
Sayujya Mukti माताजी बहुत पाएगा.
Diyamanam na grihnanti vina mat sevanam jana.
सायुज्य मुक्ति नहीं चाहिए ना हमको. सायुज्य मुक्ति
हाँ, हमको कोई भी नहीं चाहिए if service is not there. That is what Kapil Dev is saying. Diyamanam na grihnanti, ये सब देने से भी नहीं लेते अगर सेवा नहीं है तो. वहां पे वैकुंठ में जाके आराम करना है तो वो नहीं चाहिए. So there are some Aishwarya, Sukh Aishwaryottar Mukti also. There is Prem Sevottar Mukti, Sukh Aishwaryottar Mukti. ये 2 प्रकार के वैकुंठ मुक्ति हैं. आपको प्रेम से सेवा करनी है या फिर आपको सुख ऐश्वर्य लेना है. You serve God, but ठीक है, मेरे को prominently थोड़ा सा आराम. Such people are there also in Vaikuntha. सुख ऐश्वर्योत्तर मुक्ति भी होती है. But in Goloka, only service is there, prema. So Prabhupada, he focuses on unpretentious surrender of a devotee. Devotee is not interested in any other thing. So Prabhupada writes, 3rd paragraph, the examples of 2nd paragraph also Prabhupada writes. In the beginning, Arjuna placed himself as one of those who desire self-satisfaction, for he desired not to fight in the battle of Kurukshetra, but to make him desireless. The Lord preached Bhagavad Gita, in which the ways of karma, jnana, hatha, and also bhakti yoga are explained. Because Arjuna was without any pretension, he changed his decision and satisfied the Lord by agreeing to fight. Karishye vachanam tava. So real desirelessness means working for the pleasure of the Lord. I have no personal desires. I only want to serve Krishna. Nispriha sarva kamebhyo Krishna padanu sevaya. That was Yudhishthir Maharaj. He was maintaining his kingdom, but he had no personal desires. Nispriha. Spriha means desires. Examples of Brahma and Shiva are specifically cited here because Brahma, Shiva, Lakshmi, and 4 Kumaras are leaders of 4 desireless Vaishnava Sampradayas. They are freed from all pretensions. Gatavyalikai. That is called as Projita Kaitava. So all these other types of religions, they are cheating religions. Dharma projita kaitavatra parmo. Tar madhye moksha vancha kaitava pradhan. So moksha vancha is the best of the cheating. Mukti chahiye kaitava pradhan. So that is the foremost of all the cheating. So therefore devotees are not interested in all these things. They are nirvyalika. They are only interested in unalloyed, unpretentious surrender. Yesham sa esha bhagavan dayayedanantaha sarvaatmana shridapado yadi nirvyalikam. Nirvyalikam. The devotees of the Lord, they are without any pretension. And if somebody is in this mode, te dustaramati taranti cha deva mayam, they cross over the ocean of material existence and material nature very easily. कुछ मेहनत नहीं करना पड़ता है हमको. But those who are like animals and animal killers, they don't attain this perfection. Naisha mamahamatidhi swasrigala bhakshye. So that is how a devotee should be unpretentious. While practicing devotional service, we should be really, really careful and attentive and always introspective. कि भाई मैं क्यों कर रहा हूँ ये सब? Why I am doing this? Seva, preaching, kirtan, managing. Why? Unpretentious surrender is required. दिखावा करने वालों को भगवान बिल्कुल पसंद नहीं करते. If somebody has something other in the heart, I will get name, fame, prestige, position, adoration, distinction. Krishna will give all that. ये चाहिए ले लो. भक्ति नहीं देंगे. कृष्ण यदि छूटे भक्ते भुक्ति मुक्ति दिया, कभू कृष्ण प्रेम ना देन राखे न लुकाइया. लुका के रखते हैं, छुपा के रखते हैं, देते नहीं है इतनी आसानी से. He gives only to those people who don't want anything else. नहीं तो करोड़ों जन्मों तक करते रहेंगे. बहुजन्म करे यदि श्रवण कीर्तन, तबु तो न पाए कृष्ण पदे प्रेम धन. So we have to be really careful of what we want. Unpretentious surrender is very, very important. दिखावा करने वालों को भगवान बिल्कुल पसंद नहीं करते हैं. लॉर्ड चैतन्य इज पतित पावन, नॉट कपट पावन. कपटी लोगों को भगवान पसंद नहीं करते हैं. दिखावा कर रहे हैं, अंदर कुछ और बाहर कुछ और. So that is the long process, long journey. But that's how we have to be careful. That's why we need association of devotees to constantly remind us. That's how Bharat Maharaj fell down, because he was affected. He was doing a good thing, showing compassion to deer. But nobody was there to tell him, Bharat Prabhu, क्या कर रहे हो? बस हो गया, उसको छोड़ दो अभी. You're not focusing on your sadhana bhakti. यज्ञ कर रहे हैं तो यज्ञ छोड़ के उसको देख रहे हैं. So you have to be really careful while practicing bhakti. Otherwise, you will get deviated. पता भी नहीं चलेगा. So Prabhupada writes, those who are after fruitive activities for their pious activities, those who desire salvation and identity with Supreme, and those who desire material perfections of mystic power are all restless. कौन सा वर्ष बोल रहे हैं? वही ना अभी. हाँ, मैं बस देख रहा हूँ अभी है कि devotee is completely peaceful. Conclusion is that the Lord is for everyone, because no one can achieve the result of his respective desires without his sanction. And then after describing all this, he summarizes in 20th verse by saying, in short, Lord is protector of everything. He is the Lord of everyone. Shriyapati Yagyapati Prajapati
प्रियापति यज्ञपति प्रजापति
Lokapati Dharapati
प्रियापति लोकपतिर्धरापति
Chandhaka Vrishni Satvatam
पतिर्गतिश्चान्
Prasidatam me Bhagavan Satam Patihi.
प्रसीदतां मे भगवता सतां पति.
Lord Krishna, who is the worshipable Lord of all devotees, the protector and glory of all the kings like Andaka and Vrishni of the Yadu dynasty, the husband of all goddesses of fortune, the director of all sacrifices, and therefore the leader of all living entities, the controller of all intelligence, the proprietor of all planets, spiritual and material, and the supreme incarnation on the earth, the supreme all in all, be merciful upon me.
So Shriyapati, he is a husband of goddess of fortune. Yagyapati, he is a director of sacrifices. Prajapati, he is a leader of all the living entities. Dhiyapati, he is the controller of intelligence also. Dadami Buddhi Yogam. Lokpati, he is the controller of planets. Dharapati, controller of material and spiritual worlds. And he is the protector and the glory of Andhaka and Vrishni dynasties. Therefore, that Supreme Lord be pleased upon me. Prasidatam me prasanna huye. So Prabhupada writes, he explains all these things in detail. And before that, first he gives some, he continues this purport of Gatav Vyalikai, chhod nahi rahe usko, Gatav Vyalikai. Srila Sukadeva Goswami is one of the prominent Gatav Vyalika who are free of all misconceptions. He therefore expresses his own realized perception of Krishna, sum total of all perfections. So then Prabhupada describes how he is Shriyapati. All the Lakshmis are there serving him. Lakshmi Sahasra Shata Sambrama Sevyamanam. So that's how people like to keep this photo. Lakshmi hai, unke haath se aisa gold coin nikal raha hai. It's a very, very famous photo in India. Lakshmi chahiye, lekin Lakshmipati nahi chahiye logon ko. But who is Lakshmipati? Shriyapati is Lord Vishnu. And in 5th canto, it is described that Lakshmi doesn't favor a non-devotee. Jati nahi non-devotee ke paas. Because Lakshmi is a chaste wife. जो उनके पति की सेवा करता है उनके पास ही जाती है. So therefore, it is a very common understanding. Lakshmi Devi herself says, I do not favor anyone unless he surrenders to Supreme Lord. So that's how it is. And then Prabhupada writes about Prajapati. Before that, he describes all goddesses of fortune are manifestations of his Ladini Shakti. And when Lord manifested himself on this earth, he displayed his activities of his internal potency in Rasa Leela, just to attract the common conditioned souls. And then Prabhupada describes something about degraded sex enjoyment of this world, and how Lord Chaitanya, he was worshipping Krishna, and he was a strict sannyasi. So all these Ras Leela pastimes, they are not ordinary affairs between boy and girl of this age. So Shriyapati, then Prabhupada writes about Yagyapati, Yagyarthat Karmano Anyatra. Prabhupada writes in the next paragraph, just like watering the root of the tree satisfies all parts of the tree. And then in the next paragraph, he describes about Dhyapati, Patir Gatish Chandaka. So Yagyapati, Prajapati, Dhyapati. So Prabhupada writes all that in detail. We'll not go into the details of the purport. Prabhupada writes about everything. Dhyapati may he gives the, this verse, Matta Smriti Jnanam Apohanam Cha. And then he describes Lokpati. He is the husband of everyone, and so therefore he married 16,000 wives also. All these things he described. And again, last he is Patir Gatischa Andhaka Vrishni Satvatam. When Krishna enters Dwarka after a long stay at Hastinapur, all these Dwarkavasis, they were waiting for him like a Chataka bird, waiting for the first rains of shower. And as Krishna enters and blows his beautiful conch shell, which is looking like a swan playing in lotus flower. The hands of the Lord, they are reddish and the conch shell is white. So as he blows his conch, and all the residents, they come out running and they offer beautiful prayers. So one of that is Bhavayanastvam Bhava Vishwa Bhavan Tvameva Matatha Surit Patim Pita Tvam Sadgururnaha Paramam Cha Daivatam Yasyanu Kritino Babhuvima. You are father, you are mother. Mata Surit Patim Pita. So that is what is described here. He is a lord of Andhaka and Vrishni dynasties also. Okay, so then after glorifying the Lord, he glorifies the lotus fruit in the next verse. Yadangra Vidhyana Samadhi Dhautaya Hiyanu Pashyanti Tattvamatmanaha
ध्यानुपश्यन्ति हि तत्त्वात्मनः
Chaitat Kavayo Yatharucham
वदन्ति चैतत् कवयो
Same
यथार्चम्
Bhagavan Prasidata.
न मे मुकुन्दो भगवान् प्रसीदताम्.
however think of him according to their ability. May the Lord be pleased with you.
Yad Anghri Abhidhyana, by meditating on the lotus feet of the Lord in Samadhi, what happens? They become dhautaya. Dhautaya means purified. धुल जाते हैं उनके मन के जो भी क्लेश हैं. That is how the meditation on the lotus feet is very, very powerful. Therefore, Kapil Dev describes in the third canto, one should meditate on the lotus feet for a long, long time. We should not hurry to see the lotus face of the Lord. Because from the toenails of the Lord, there is a effulgence which comes. हमको दिखता नहीं है, but it is there. And that effulgence can destroy the darkness of ignorance which is there in the heart. So therefore, Dhyaye chiram bhagavatas charanarvindam. We should meditate for a long time on the lotus feet of the Lord. Dhyanu pashyanti hi tattvam atmanaha. Following in the footsteps of authorities, devotees in trance can see the Lord. Vadanti. The learned scholars think of him according to their whims. Yatha rucham, जैसी रुचि होती है वैसे वो ध्यान करते हैं भगवान के ऊपर. Same Mukundo, that Supreme Lord who gives liberation, be pleased upon me. In the purport, Prabhupada describes what is real trance. Somebody can read this. What is the purport?
Yes, full, starting from the beginning. The mystic yogis, after a strenuous effort to control the senses, may be situated in trance of yoga just to have a vision of the super soul within everyone. But the pure devotee, simply by remembering the Lord's lotus feet at every second, at once becomes established in real trance, because by such realization, his mind and intelligence are completely cleansed of the disease of material enjoyment.
Yes, that is real trance. Remembering the lotus feet of the Lord every second, that is real trance. Trance does not mean if somebody is sitting, with eyes closed, meditating on something impersonal. That is not trance. Real trance means meditate on the lotus feet of the Lord and serve the lotus feet of the Lord. One time one person brought some Babaji, some sadhu to meet Prabhupada and said, Prabhupada, Swamiji, this Babaji has taken vow of Maunavrat. Prabhupada said, very good. Till the time he doesn't speak and listens to me, I have no problem. So real trance, real mauna, real silence doesn't mean just artificially be silent. And Prabhupada would tell all these Mauni Babas, they keep their slate with them and they keep writing. They don't speak, they keep writing whatever they want. That is not maun. Their minds are fully active. They want to speak, so they are expressing their speech in words, in written form, not in words form. So what is the difference? Real maun means speaking about Krishna. Real trance means meditating on the feet of the Lord, not on impersonal Brahman. Then Prabhupada writes, pure devotee thinks himself fallen in the ocean of birth and death and incessantly prays to him. He only aspires to become a speck of transcendental dust at the feet of the Lord. Pure devotee, by the grace of the Lord, loses all attraction for material attachment. Just like Dhruv Maharaj is praying, oh Lord, the happiness which I am getting in devotional service is so amazing. Brahmanand is insignificant in front of this. Then what to speak of heavenly pleasures? And to not, there is no need to speak of the earthly pleasures. Ya nirvritis tanubhritam tava pad padma. The happiness which I am getting in two things. Tava pad padma dhyan and bhavat jana katha shravan. आपके भक्तों से कथा श्रवण सुनने में और आपके चरण पे ध्यान करने में. The happiness which I am getting is not even, Brahmanand is insignificant in front of. Then Prabhupada quotes this verse from Kulak Shekhar. We'll recite this verse, very beautiful verse. Krishna tvadiya pada pankaja panjarantam adyeva me vishatu manas raj hamsaha. प्राण प्रयाण समये कफवात पित्तै
प्राण प्रयाण समये कफवातपित्ते
स्मरणं कुतस्ते
कंठावरोधन विधौ स्मरणं कुतस्ते.
My Lord Krishna, I pray that the swan of my mind may immediately sink down to the stems of the lotus feet of your Lordship and be locked in their network. Otherwise, at the time of my final breath, when my throat is choked up with cough, how will it be possible to think of you?
So devotee, he is always concerned, will I be able to remember Krishna at the time of death? So therefore he is saying, now I am fit. हम लोग सर सर्दी खांसी जुकाम होता है तो चैंटिंग मुश्किल होता है. So he is saying, अरे अब भी ठीक ठाक हूँ, let me give up my body now. So pure devotee loses all attraction for material enjoyment, and to keep free from contamination, he always thinks on the lotus feet of the Lord. कृष्ण पाद पद्म गंध जय जन पाए ब्रह्म लोक आदि सुख तारे नहीं भाई. रघुनाथ दास गोस्वामी के बारे में बोल रहे हैं. नित्यानंद प्रभु. This personality has a wealth of Indra. His beautiful wife like Apsara, still he is not attracted. His mother is telling to his father, इसको बांध के रखो. She says, अरे पुत्र बातुल होइला इहा राखह बांधिया, तार पिता कहे तारे निर्विन्न होइया. माँ बोल रही है अरे बांध के रखो बेटा भाग रहा है. पिता बोल रहे हैं अरे इंद्र सम ऐश्वर्य स्त्री अप्सरा सम ये सब बांधते नारी लेकर यार मन. ये सब नहीं बांध पाए तो क्या ये रस्सी बांधेगी. श्री चैतन्य चंद्रेर कृपा हैया छे इहारे चैतन्य चंद्रेर बातुल के राखीते पारे. जिस पे महाप्रभु की कृपा हुआ वो पागल हो गया है. वो ऐसे पागल व्यक्ति को कौन बांध के रखेगा. So devotee, he has lost all attachment because he is attached to the lotus feet of Krishna. One time Srila Prabhupada was speaking and he was saying that I will never fall in Maya. Everybody said Jai Prabhupada. And then and after that Prabhupada was taking darshan of the deities and praying intensely. So one devotee asked, Prabhupada, what are you praying? Prabhupada said, I am praying so that I may not fall into Maya. Prabhupada, abhi to bole, you will not fall in Maya. Prabhupada said, because I am praying, that's why I will not fall in Maya. So we have to constantly be attached to the lotus feet of the Lord. Brahmaji bol rahe hain, Brahmaji is telling to Narad Muni, my mind never goes towards sense gratification, towards wrong things. My senses, they never go to sense gratification. Whatever I speak comes true. Why? Because I have got hold of the lotus feet of the Lord with great zeal. करके रखे हैं इसलिए. न भारती में अंगम ऋषोपलक्षते न वै क्वचिन में मनसो मृषागति न मे ऋषिकाणि पतन्त्य सत्पथे यन्मय हृदौत्कण्ठ्यवता धृतो हरि. So that is the secret. The more we catch hold of the feet of the Lord, the more we are protected. The day we are not, chanting our rounds properly, the day we are not in good consciousness, that is a equal proportion. That is a automatic reaction. If we are not chanting properly, then our consciousness gets affected. If we are not serving properly, then we cannot, chant properly. So that's all it is connected. There is an intimate relationship between swan and lotus stem. So Prabhupada is now elaborating on this verse of Kulakshekar. Swan is attracted to lotus stem. Swan likes that. So therefore devotee should become like swan. इसलिए यहाँ पे बोल रहे हैं ना, मानस राज हंस, my mind, let it become like a swan and be attracted to the lotus feet. Your feet are also like lotus, just like swan is attracted to lotus. Let my mind be also be attracted to your lotus feet.
Practically, how we can do that? Suppose we are not in the temple or we are outside, we are doing some work. That time also, how can we think of lotus feet of Lord? Or
There are
lotus feet of Lord?
Okay, so when we are doing the direct activities of Krishna consciousness, if we are attentive, then in doing indirect activities, at least Krishna will be there in the background. We are aware that, okay, we are doing it for Krishna. Otherwise, while doing our job, we cannot just chanting भी करता हूँ, साथ साथ में chanting करता हूँ और अपना काम भी करता हूँ. No, it doesn't work like that. We have to be present in our work. We have to do it very nicely, but our background consciousness should be, I am doing it for Krishna. So that is the understanding. That's how we can be Krishna conscious always. Why I am doing it, that is the understanding. That is the most important thing. Why? So that is how we have to understand. As stated in Brahma Samhita, mental speculators, even by the dint of learned scholarship, cannot even dream of absolute truth by speculating for eternity. Which verse? Brahma Samhita. Even by dint of learned scholarship, one cannot dream of absolute truth by speculating over it for eternity. Anthastu koti shatavatsara samprabhamyo vayorathapi manaso munipungavana. They cannot even see the tip of the toe of the Lord. So prapada means padka agrabhag. They cannot even see the tip of the toe of the Lord. So that's how. Lord reserves the right of not being exposed to such mental speculators. Which verse? Bhagavad Gita. Lord reserves the right of not being exposed to mental speculators. Naham prakasha sarvasya yogamaya samavrita mudhoyam nabhijanati. Lord is not like a shopkeeper trying to please all sorts of customers in the mental speculator exchange. सबको प्रसन्न करने की कोई जरूरत नहीं है भगवान को. He is not a shopkeeper. सबको अपना बेचना ही है. लॉर्ड भगवान को कुछ पड़ी नहीं है कि अरे मेरा बिक नहीं रहा है, धंधा नहीं हो रहा है. So he is just displaying his products, and whoever is interested, please come and take it. And he is doing propaganda. He is doing advertisement. Because to sell a good thing also one requires advertisement. Pure devotees, however, by following the previous acharyas, can see the Supreme Lord through the transparent medium of spiritual. Anupashyanti. Dhiya anupashyanti. Prabhupada is elaborating on that. Dhiya anupashyanti. Pure devotees never tries to see the Lord. So there are two things required to see the Lord. First is faith in the Lord, and second, faith in the previous acharyas. एताम स आस्थाय परात्म निष्ठा अध्यासिताम पूर्वतमय महर्षि. एक तो निष्ठा होना चाहिए भगवान में और निष्ठा होना चाहिए गुरु में. That is required to see the Lord. Okay, so then after this he continues. Prachodita yena pura saraswati.
Next one.
Yes. Vitanvata jasya satim smritim yaridi. Swalakshana pradurabhuta kilasyatah. Same rishinam rishabha prasidatam.
The Lord who in the beginning of the creation amplified the 14
Means the Lord.
his art and inspired him with full knowledge of creation and of his own self, and who appeared to be generated from the mouth of Brahma, we please people.
So now he's telling that Supreme Lord only gave knowledge to Brahma. Which verse says this? Lord gave knowledge to Brahma. Tene Brahma Hridaya Adi Kavaye. So that is what Shukdev Goswami is saying. Prachodita, that Supreme Lord inspired. By whom? Inspired by whom? In the beginning, Pura, in the beginning, this goddess of learning manifested in the heart of Brahmaji. Saraswati manifested. Saraswati means knowledge. Because of the Lord only, Brahmaji got all the knowledge. Swalakshana, inspired by him with full knowledge of creation and of his own self, who appeared to be generated from the mouth of Brahma. So Lord inspired Brahma and came out of the mouth of Brahma in the form of knowledge. I offer my obeisances unto that Supreme Lord. So Chakravarti Thakur writes that just as Lord made the Vedas flow from the mouth of Brahma, may he let the description of these pastimes flow from my mouth. That is why Shukadeva Goswami is saying this. Just like Brahma could speak Vedas inspired by the Lord, similarly may Lord inspire me to speak his pastimes. In the beginning of the first canto, 4th chapter, Suta Goswami offered prayers to Shukadeva Goswami. And that he said, Yaswanubhavam akhilam shruti saramekam swanubhava. So that Shukadeva Goswami who could speak even through the trees, may that Shukadeva Goswami inspire me to speak. He is in line with Shukadeva Goswami. Shukadeva Goswami वही बोल रहे हैं. That Supreme Lord who inspired Brahma to speak, that Supreme Lord may also inspire me to speak. Shukadeva Goswami is also praying the same thing. And Suta Goswami is also praying the same thing. So that is how the speakers of Bhagavatam, they are always in parampara. They always depend on previous acharyas. Suta Goswami is depending on Shukadeva Goswami. Shukadeva Goswami is depending on the Supreme Lord. So that's how it is. One should be dependent on the Lord and confident about the previous acharyas. So Prabhupada in the purport explains the creation a little bit. Okay, next verse. Very, very interesting and beautiful verse Shukadeva Goswami is saying. So first in the 22nd verse he said, may that Supreme Lord inspire me to speak. Now in the 23rd verse he says, may my words create beauty with literary ornaments. बोलने की शक्ति दीजिए और मधुर बोलने की शक्ति दीजिए. That is what he is praying. Let my Lord inspire me and empower me so that my words may become full of ornaments and qualities of madhurya, karuna, and all the other rasas. सब रस आने चाहिए मेरे वाणी में. भूतैर महद्भिर इमा पुरो विभू. या इमा पुरुषः भुङ्क्ते गुणान् षोडश षोडशात्मकः. भगवान् वचांसि मे.
भगवान बचांसि
Personality of Godhead who enlivens the materially created bodies of the elements by lying down within the universe, and who in his Purusha incarnation causes the living being to be subjected to the 16 divisions of material modes, which are his generator. Be pleased to decorate my statements.
Bhutair Mahadbhir, just like that Supreme Lord who enlivened the material elements. God entered the material elements, right? As Garbhodaksha Vishnu, Karanodaksha Vishnu glanced on material nature and enlivened it. Then universe was formed. Then Garbhodaksha Vishnu entered. So he's saying that Supreme Lord who enlivened the material body of the universe, Nirmaya Shete, by lying down. So what happened when Karanodaksha Vishnu, I think there's, when Karanodaksha Vishnu glanced on the material nature, what is that called as material nature? Prakriti, or एक और शब्द बोलते हैं उनके लिए, प्रधान. Prakriti, pradhan, सब एक ही है. Lord glances on it, then it transforms into what? प्रभु जी आप ऐसा क्वेश्चन मत पूछिए, आप बोलते रहिए. हम आपको डिस्टर्ब नहीं कर रहे हैं ना, आप. Yes, so Pradhan transforms into Mahat Tattva, under the influence of three modes of nature and time factor. जब काल और गुण उस पे एक्ट करते हैं तब प्रकृति परिवर्तित होती है किसमें? महत्तत्व. And then further transformation happens under the influence of the kala. Then mahatattva gets transformed into ahankar. Then ahankar further transforms into the mode of ahankar in the mode of goodness, ahankar in the mode of passion, ahankar in the mode of ignorance. अहंकार इन द मोड ऑफ गुडनेस से क्या बनता है? माइंड एंड ऑल द सेंस देवतास. ये तो पढ़ेंगे हम लोग, सुन लीजिए खाली, कहीं तो सुन के ऐसा रख लीजिए, बाद में समझिएगा. अहंकार इन द मोड ऑफ पैशन ट्रांसफॉर्म्स इनटू ऑल द senses. Yes. And ahankar in the mode of ignorance transforms into elements. Tanmatras. Tanmatras and elements. All the elements and the sense objects. And then all these things, they are lying down. फिर उसके बाद क्या होता है? All these things combine. And अभी combine करने के लिए कोई तो चाहिए ना, कुछ चाहिए. Then Lord sends his cohesive energy. उसको बोलते हैं विभ्रत शक्ति. अभी सब कुछ अभी गोडाउन में सब सब्जी सब अलग अलग रखा है, चलो भाई उसको सेग्रीगेट करो, लाके कढ़ाई में डालने वाला कोई तो चाहिए ना, हिलाएगा कौन कढ़ाई में डाल के? So all these elements are created, now they have to combine to create the universe. Then Lord sends his cohesive energy, Vibrat Shakti. All these elements combine to form the universe. Golden shell. अभी वो तो बन गया, लेकिन फिर भी कुछ उसमें मूवमेंट नहीं हो रहा है. So then all these devatas, they pray to the Lord. Sense devatas, जो पहले बन गए ना, they pray to the Lord. Then Lord expands and enters as Garbhodakshay Vishnu. Then from the name Garbhodakshay Vishnu finds अरे सब खाली पड़ा है, मैं किधर लेटू किधर? Then he perspires, fills half of the universe with the water. वो बन जाता है गर्भोदक सागर, उसमें अनंत शेष पे सो रहे हैं. That is what is described here. क्यों बता रहा हूँ ये? यहाँ पे लिखा है निर्माय शेते यदमुषु पुरुषः. So Garbhodakshay Vishnu entered the universe and enlivened the universe by Nirmaya Shete, by lying down. And then Bhunkte Gunan Shodasha Shodashatmakaha. He causes the living beings to be subjected to 16 divisions of material modes. So there are various modes which are acting and they enliven, and the universe starts working. So that is what Shukdev Goswami is saying, that because of you, this entire universe gets enlivened. Therefore, please enliven my words so that I can speak nicely with wonderful decorative words. Alankar ke saath bol saku. Alankrashishta. Knowledge of our language, if it is decorated with some alankar. Alankar कौन कौन से होते हैं?
द्वंद्व.
द्वंद्व नहीं होता है अलंकार.
वो समास हो गया ना.
अतिशयोक्ति अलंकार, उपमा अलंकार, अनुप्रास अलंकार. तो ये सब अलंकार है. अलंकृत भाषा, it is attractive. अगर बिना किसी अलंकृत भाषा के बोलेंगे तो it is not so attractive. So Shukdev Goswami wants that my language should be attractive to everyone. So that's what he is bringing. So alankrasishta Bhagwan vachamsi me. Let that Supreme Lord enliven my words and decorate my words. So when we are willing, then Lord empowers. Willingness is our contribution and empowerment is Lord's contribution. If we are not willing, then Lord will not give mercy. क्या जरूरत है? इच्छा ही नहीं है तो. So if we are willing, then Lord shows mercy. So then Prabhupada writes in the purport, as a fully dependent devotee, Shukadeva Goswami, unlike a mundane man who is proud of his own ability, invokes the pleasure of Supreme Lord so that his statements may be successful and appreciated by the hearers. Devotee always thinks, I am instrument. Where all we hear these things? I am instrument in the hands of the Lord. कौन बोल रहा है ऐसा? कहाँ बोले हैं? कभी कोई बोले हैं? I am instrument in the hands of the Lord. Please make me instrument.
प्रभुपाद बोले
क्या बोले?
हमको काष्ठेर पुतली नाचाए नाचाए
काष्ठेर पुतलियत नाचाओ से मते. Please Lord make me dance. नाचाओ नाचाओ प्रभु नाचाओ से मते. काष्ठेर पुतलियत नाचाओ से. Kaviraj Goswami is also saying, आमी लिखी एह मिथ्या करी अनुमान आमारा शरीर काष्ठ पुतली समान. My body is like a wooden puppet. Ramanand Rai is telling, हृदय प्रेरणा कर जिह्वाव कराव वाणी की कहिए भालमंद की छुई न जानी. तुम्ही आमी नट तुम्ही सूत्रधार. So whatever I am speaking, you are only making me to speak. I am just a puppet in your hands, oh my Lord. That's how a devotee always feels. Okay, so that is how the Lord is, Shukadeva Goswami is speaking. Prabhupada continues. So Chakravarti Thakur writes, now may my words created by him, by his presence in them, create beauty. If Lord will enter my words, then my words will become beautiful. And they'll be alankrit. And they will have all these various rasas of madhurya, karuna, and all the other rasas. So the speaker of the Bhagavatam never feels qualified to speak. He always feels dependent. And they pray for empowerment. That's how Brahmaji also prays to the Lord. Please empower me so that I can create. So Prabhupada writes, devotee always feels himself as instrument for carrying out successfully anything in service. A godless atheist wants to take all credit without not knowing that even a blade of grass cannot move without the sanction of the Lord. Shukadeva Goswami wants to move by the direction of the Supreme Lord, who inspired Brahma to speak. So then after a few lines, Prabhupada describes the power of Parampara. Such Vedic knowledge is disseminated by authorities like Shukadeva Goswami because he is a humble devotional servitor of the Lord who has no desire to become a self-appointed interpreter. So Shukadeva Goswami doesn't want to, to find out some new ways of, knowledge. He's not innovating or inventing any other knowledge, just presenting whatever Lord has told. That is what he wants. Okay, so then after this, he continues his prayers. Namastasmai Bhagavate Vasudevaya Vedase Apurjnanavayam Saumya Yanmukham Buruha Savam.
I offer my respectful obeisance.
Incarnation of Vasudeva who compiled the Vedic scriptures.
The incarnation of Vasudeva who compiled the Vedic scriptures. The pure devotee drink of the nectarian transcendental knowledge dropping from the lotus-like mouth of the Lord. Hare Krishna.
Namastasmai Bhagavate, I offer my obeisances unto that Supreme Lord, unto Vasudevaya Vedhase, unto Vasudeva or his incarnations, the Vedhase. So he's offering his obeisances. First he offered his obeisances to Supreme Lord. Now he's offering his obeisances to Vyasadeva. Vasudevaya Vedase. Papur Jnanam. That's supreme. So, Papur Jnanam Aham Samya. The pure devotees drink this Mukha Amburu Ahasavam. So, pure devotees drink this knowledge, Jnanam, this nectarian asava. Asava means the nectarian. It is like a elixir. Asava means a very nourishing drink. So the pastimes of the Lord, they are very nourishing drink. So therefore, the pure devotees drink this nectarian transcendental knowledge dropping from the lotus-like mouth of the Lord. That's how Shukdev Goswami is offering obeisances to Vyasadeva now. Because Vyasadeva is the one who taught him. Because Vyasadeva, when Shukdev Goswami was born, he was born as a 16 years old boy. And he immediately went to the forest. So Vyasadeva is running behind him. And he's crying, shouting, oh child, please come back. And only trees responded. And then Vyasadeva didn't give up. He sent his disciples. These disciples, they went and did two things. They described the beauty of the Lord and they described the mercy of the Lord. So which two verses? They attracted Shukdev Goswami from a Brahmavadi to devotee. One is Aho Bhakyam, that is mercy of the Lord. How Lord is merciful, gave position of mother to Putana. And second verse, the beauty of the Lord. Parha Pidam Natavaravapu, that described the beauty of the Lord. So therefore he is offering obeisances to his Guru Vyasadeva. And then after this, in the 25th verse, the last verse of this chapter, Shukdev Goswami now starts answering the question of Parikshit Maharaj by quoting a conversation which happened between Brahma and Narada. So this is the quality, this is the unique feature of all the speakers of Bhagavatam. Whenever they are asked something, they quote a previous conversation. They don't say, Ki, "Main batata hu, baitho." No, they'll say, I have heard this. This is a similar conversation which happened between Brahma and Narada. That's what Shukdev Goswami is saying. Etadevatma bhurajam
नारदाय विपृच्छते
साक्षात्
वेदगर्भो विघात् साक्षात् यादाह हरिरात्मना.
My dear King Brahma, the firstborn, on being questioned by Narada, exactly apprised him on this subject, as it was directly spoken by Lord to his own son, who was impregnated with the Vedic knowledge from his very birth. Hare Krishna.
So that's
Hare Krishna.
That's Supreme Lord. So this questions which you are asking, one time Narad Muni asked the same question to Brahmaji. So that conversation which happened between Narad and Brahma, I will describe that in answer to your question. So that's how whenever somebody is speaking in parampara, it is Krishna who is speaking. One of the last verses of Bhagavatam. Kasmai yena vibhashitoyam atulo jnana pradipa pura tadarupena chanaradaya munaya krishnaya tadarupina yogendraya tadatmanata bhagavadarātāya karunyata tashuddham vimalam vishokam amritam satyam param dhimahi. Bhagavatam began with satyam param dhimahi and ends with satyam param dhimahi. So in this verse, Shaunaka Girishis, Sudha Goswami is saying this. Kaha means Brahmaji. In the beginning, Lord spoke to Brahma and then Brahma spoke to who? Narada. Kaha kasmai yena vibhatuloyam atulo jnana pradipa. Then when Brahmaji gave this wonderful knowledge to Narad Muni, it was Krishna in the form of Brahma who was speaking. When Narad Muni gave knowledge to whom? Vyasadeva. It was Krishna who is speaking. Yogendraya tadatmanatha. When Vyasadeva spoke to Shukdev Goswami, it was Krishna speaking. And when Shukdev Goswami spoke to Parikshit Maharaj, Bhagavadarātāya means Parikshit. It was Krishna speaking. So whenever somebody is speaking in parampara, we should understand that these are the words of Krishna. It is not an ordinary conversation. So that's how Prabhupada would tell many times that I have not written these books. Krishna has written them. And one time one reporter came and was asking, so Swamiji, how did you write these books? He said, I didn't write. Krishna has written these books. So he was confused. Kya bol rahe? So one devotee thought, chalo thoda main purport deta hu. What Prabhupada is speaking is Krishna inspires him and he writes. Which rascal is saying this? मैं बोल रहा हूँ Krishna is speaking and writing. तुमको कौन purport देने को? He says, every morning when I sit and write, Krishna personally comes and dictates me. And I am just taking dictation. So that's why whenever somebody is speaking in parampara, it is Krishna speaking. So now Shukdev Goswami will recite a conversation, narrate a conversation which happens between Narad Muni and Brahmaji. So Prabhupada writes, as soon as Brahma was born, he was impregnated with Vedic knowledge and therefore is called as Veda Garbha. The Vedantist from the embryo. Prabhupada writes of the full translation. Veda Garbha matlab kya hai? Vedantist from the embryo. Without Vedic knowledge or perfect knowledge, no one can create anything. All scientific knowledge and perfect knowledge are Vedic. One can get all types of information from the Vedas. And as such, Brahma was impregnated with all perfect knowledge so that it was possible for him to create. And thus, Brahma knew the perfect description of creation. So therefore, when Brahma was questioned by Narada, Brahma told Narada exactly what he had heard from the Lord. Apne man se kuch nahi bole hain Brahma ji. Brahma ji, whatever he heard from Krishna, he told to Narad Muni. Then Prabhupada is paraphrasing this verse, Kasmai yena vibhashitoya matulo. Narada told exactly the same thing to Vyasa. Vyasa told to Shukdeva what he had heard from Narada, and Shukdeva was going to repeat the same statement to Parikshit Maharaj. The language of the Vedas can be revealed only by above mentioned disciplic succession. There is no use of theories. So that's how we have to hear in Parampara. So that's the end of the 4th chapter. We'll stop here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Granthra Srimad Bhagvatam ki jai.
Next time, Prabhuji. Next offline class.
No. Something is there. I am okay. What all you all can decide.
An exam will be there, right?
Yeah.
Which text?
Okay, so next week exam will be there. 2.1.
2.1, yes.
Okay, thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.